Look, I don't know if I'm ready to fly solo.
You gotta take the oath. I promise to do everything in my power to protect this city.
I promise. Whoa.
Qué guapo.
Gracias, mami.
Guys, I wanted to thank you. Both of you.
You need to lay low. Don't trust anybody, and don't take off that mask.
This message is from Roxxon. The underground will stop it.
They need you.
Miles, what's the underground doing?
They're after New Form. Tinkerer, stop!
Gotta say, I'm disappointed, bud.
Krieger.
You think you can beat the Tinker? Roxxon, you can't!
Every time I think I got this Spider-Man thing figured out, something goes wrong.
Miles, our family doesn't give up.
Whenever you say Spider-Man, you always mean the other one. You're Spider-Man. You can fix this. Your way.
This is my time. I'm seizing the moment cause I gotta go for the time's gone. Ain't scared of the dark cause I'm bringing the light with a nice dawn. I shine on. I see it coming, I don't need a sign. This the moment, I'ma make it mine. This is my time. My time now. My time.
Welcome back everyone to my channel Mythical Pegasus Gaming. This is of course Pegasus as the name suggests, and I am here with you and glad to have you here where I play video games and try to narrate my first impressions while I play through them. I try to share what I feel about video games in general in my videos and try to upload videos regularly. All your help in terms of likes, subscriptions to the channel and opinions in form of comments truly matter to me and keep me going. So if you do like the content, your support will be highly appreciated. Please give a like to the video and a sub to the channel, and that will keep me motivated to bring out more content for you to enjoy. So now that's out of the way, we can come back to the gaming. I've recently completed Insomniac Studios Spider-Man Miles Morales on my PS5, the gameplays of which can be found in the channel spread across 14 parts. You can catch a glimpse of them if you like. But this particular video is going to be about how I like this particular game after my first playthrough, about how my expectations were either met or not met in the gameplays, and it's about going to be my opinion and my review of how I felt like it. Do feel free to leave your comments of how you felt about it if you have played it. But before we get into that, let me just give you a brief of what Insomniac Games is about. They were formed in 1994. And since then they have given some brilliant games like Spyro the Dragon, Ratchet and Clank, the Resistance games, and have partnered in projects like Sunset Overdrive and Song of the Deep. But then their biggest success came with, of course, 2018's Marvel Spider-Man, which was in fact one of the most brilliant games of that gaming generation. Being exclusively launched on PS4, being a PlayStation exclusive, it made its way into the PlayStation's all-time greatest lists very, very quickly. Focusing on Peter Parker's Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man game, Peter had donned the suit for some time. He was a bit experienced by the time the game started. Insomniac Games, what they did is they combined the fluid combat mechanics of the Arkham games with cutting-edge graphics and added some wonderful acting, complementing the gripping story it told, eventually making a great game altogether. Now, riding the success of 2018 Spider-Man, to all the players' glee, they launched Spider-Man Miles Morales in 2020. And this is what it is. Here is my honest impression of the game after my first gameplay. But be warned that some of what I say and show you might contain in-game spoilers to the story. So please proceed with that in mind. If you have not played the story yet and if you don't want to see something, please keep in mind that there might be some spoilers. So what I will be looking at here is some of the factors which I think are important to judge a video game. I'll try to explain how I felt about these factors before we head into it and give my final view of it. Number one, we'll be talking about the story, how the story has developed, how it wraps around the game itself, the gameplay mechanics, which of course is a big part of these games. We'll be talking about the world design. Now, since this is an open world game, the world design becomes very, very important. The character designs, again, being an open world game where we have to interact with so many people, the main character, that is of Miles, becomes equally important as the side characters, the NPCs and so on. So we'll be discussing those. And then we'll also be talking about the graphics, which the game honestly looks brilliant, but we'll be talking about how it fares, the length of it, the entire length that the game can be finished in, along with its side content, the acting of the people who have worked with the game, who have performed in the game, how they have fared and made the game come alive or not, the atmosphere which the devs throw us into this game with, and make us play in the atmosphere of the game, how it was, the replayability of the game, whether it can be played multiple times and whether you'll enjoy playing multiple times or not, and a few miscellaneous factors which I think are important to make or unfortunately break a game, and where these factors come in and make Spider-Man Miles Morales what it is. So I'll discuss each and every one of them and explain whether this particular segment lived up to my expectations. So let's get ahead with that. Coming to the story, as far as the story goes, Spider-Man Miles Morales is a powerhouse. It is power-packed and it delivers a punch. It starts with Peter leaving the city for a while, giving Miles, the scope to fill in Peter's proverbial big shoes and keep New York safe during his absence. The game does a great job in creating the sense of responsibility weighing in on Miles, and Miles slowly learning the ropes with the help of his allies to become the Spider-Man that he wants to be. From start to finish, the main mission keeps the players relating to Miles' journey as he battles his own demons along with numerous villains out there to get him. Although some of the plot reveals, like who the Tinkerer was, for me it was a bit predictable, but the devs handled pretty well, leading to an emotional end to the game's arc. Overall, the story stays true to the gamer's expectation and it gets a big thumbs up from my side. Now, when it comes to the gameplay, Insomniac nailed the first Spider-Man game with its awesome combat mechanics, which is similar to that of the Arkham games, and that prevails in this one as well. They have kept whatever worked in the first game and they have slightly tweaked it and made things better here, slightly. The combat is fluid, and with the help of numerous gadgets and mods that Miles has at his disposal, cleaning up crime in New York hasn't been this fun in years. It is actually very enjoyable to be in these fights, which although is not very easy, to be honest. In its hardest mode, it can be a bit tricky if one cannot, get the dodge timed perfectly, especially when a lot of bad guys gang up on Miles, or when a tank like Rhino throws literal tanks or trucks at him and charges immediately. Those can become a bit challenging if the dodges and the shots are not timed perfectly. These difficulty spikes balance the game's difficulty quite nicely and never lets the player feels that it has become too easy even towards the end of the game. The Venom power that Miles has is a new upgrade that we can see here, that was not with Peter prior to this. It's basically an electrified shot or ability that Miles has, and it helps one punch people very easily if done properly. In some cases it is even mandatory. Another great part of the Spider-Man games is the web swinging and traversal through the city, which the devs have nailed it. They have made it so good, and along with all the parkours that have been implemented in the video itself, in the game itself, swinging through New York feels like a dream. It's so smooth, and the mechanics are so easy to handle that one would spend so much time in just swinging across the city itself. It's very cool. The air parkour moves make it a joy to watch. Some of the scavenger hunt quests and skill challenges are there in this game as well, but may be a bit repetitive after a while. The game could have used some more boss fights. We only had about 5, out of which Rhino came twice, Vulture comes in form of a hologram. The Tinkerer fight, I think, was a bit too elongated and could have been designed slightly better. The other fight from Prowler, it was crisp and fun, but that is about it. Considering everything, the gameplay gets a small thumbs up from my side. Now the whole world has been designed on the previous map, and it relates quite nicely to the real life New York itself. What happens is the people in here, the buildings, the bridges, the rivers, everything seems great to look at while swinging across the city. The map isn't particularly big, and one can traverse from one extreme side of it to another within 5 minutes in real time. One thing they added in this game that the buildings is that the windows are not just colors. They are basically they have given it some character. Some of the windows have actual rooms in them. Some of the windows have actual people in them working or living their lives in the game world, and this is quite a good touch as far as I'm concerned. The weather and the day-night cycle keeps the visuals fresh, and I especially like the time of the dawn when it was raining. Overall, the city is good to look at, and it seemed quite okay to me. A flat hand from my side on this. Now, Miles' character grows through a protagonist's development arc, and it is a pretty good design to see him getting from a touchy new superhero to a literal force to be reckoned with by the end of the game. So many costumes to choose from. It makes the game look so good, and it gives us a sense of challenge as well. One might want to go and collect the costumes and complete certain challenges because of taking those costumes. So the objectives, and to gather even more of these, some of them quite frankly, look amazing. Coming to the side characters, Miles' mom Rio, his uncle Aaron, Genki, Finn add up to his emotional side, but for me, apart from Genki and Aaron, none of them quite make it to the memorable list. Even the takes on the villains like Tinkerer, Prowler, and Simon Krieger left me wanting for more. I could not relate to the narrative, behind the change in stance for the Tinkerer, or the fact that Krieger is the big bad guy of the story without having much significant impact in the game, except some convenient plot points. Rhino, on the other hand, is very well designed and gives us the best battle of the game towards the end of it. The NPCs are just, there, and the AI is not exceptionally smart. They will sometimes randomly come up to Miles and ask for a selfie or a high five, and may shout their opinions about him. J. Jonah Jameson's vendetta against all Spider-Man continues, and we get to hear him through the broadcasts. I feel he could have been used a bit more. Overall, the characters' developments were not the strongest focus areas of the game, and they kept what worked from the first game intact, which is not a bad thing. A small thumbs up from my side for this. Now, the graphics of the game are brilliant. The character models look brilliant. The city looks brilliant and wonderful. As I said earlier, swinging through the rain or the snow or just to watch the sunset feels like the real deal over here. Only thing I noticed is that the narrations of the characters don't lip sync with the dialogue in most of the cases. The game can display a 30 FPS ray tracing mode and a 60 FPS performance mode. I chose 60 FPS as it was a fast-paced game, but for graphics itself, the game looks brilliant, and a big thumbs up from my side. The base game itself can be completed in about 12 or 13 hours if one completes all the lab cleanouts, at least one level of skill challenges, and the side quests. Since there aren't many side quests there, it shouldn't take too long. I wouldn't want to call it a DLC to the first game, although we have had certain DLCs which were longer than this in other games. I felt a little short-stacked when it ended, as I felt the game needed a bit more time to give it justice. But then, a game this good, which is story-driven, it could have had some good content, but I was mostly satisfied with what it did, so a tiny thumbs up down there, unfortunately. Now, the people who have acted in this game, the Nat G. Jecker, Jacqueline Pinot, Fred Tata Shure, the video game veteran Troy Baker, who I feel at this point of time is in every game, and that's a good thing. They've all done great jobs portraying their characters. I don't know why they changed Peter's actor. I'd grown quite fond of the previous actor, but they have changed him in this game, and it was a bit jarring to look at initially, but eventually, since there isn't much for Peter to do anyway, it didn't really matter a lot. The whole game's atmosphere is tense as we see the city on the verge of a major meltdown amidst elections, which raises the tensions even slightly. We see the holiday seasons, and people are torn between whether they want to, be afraid or, enjoy the holidays as it is. So that's where the game puts us, and we see that the terror attacks and the seasons of joy have mixed together. The game does a brilliant job with the Spidey app. It introduces an in-game social media where through the game itself, the world becomes quite alive. The people in the game interact through this app, where people find out. We can go and check what people are thinking about us. We will see that people are talking about Spidey in either positive or negative manners. It's a brilliant job that they have done with it. This deserves a special mention as the devs have made the world come alive through this. Players can see people discussing various topics. NPCs either siding with Spidey or with Jameson and attacking him. As we help NPCs, their thankful messages also pop up here, along with other misinterpretations of Spidey's various escapades. Overall, for this feature itself, a pretty big thumbs up in the game atmosphere and the design of the game. As I said, the game isn't particularly long, and most of the content can be seen and objectives completed in the first playthrough itself. Although one may come back to the New Game Plus to wipe up some of the skills, some of the costumes, some of the mods that can be obtained through the New Game Plus itself. But apart from that, there's a trophy associated with unlocking all the content, which would require a player to come to New Game Plus. But apart from that, there's no new content to be found in New Game Plus or a new playthrough. For such a story-driven game, I don't think that's a bad thing. Therefore, a flat hand here as well. Now, finally, wrapping up, little things here and there like finding Stan Lee's statue, looking up at the Avengers tower at night. These were some of the brilliant things that I thought was happening with the game. The ability to jump off the Avengers tower with some parkour, move bouquets, and at night it just seemed so brilliant. There are a couple of other Easter eggs as well, which the players can go and find out in forms of scavenger hunts, which link to the movies as well. So that's about it. That's something that I found really cool in. But one thing that I found the most happening in this game, as far as little trinkets of happiness is concerned, is of course the icing on the cake, and that is the Spider-Man. And that's not the Spider-Man that you would think of. That is the Spider-Man in a costume, in a bag. It's the Spider Cat which Spider-Man can, roam around with. It's a little fluffy cat in Spidey's bag, which he can carry around in the city, and it's a very good design. It's honestly a very good design to see Spider-Man with little cat scurrying across the city. A huge thumbs up for Spider-Cat. Also, what it does is, what this game does well is that it gives access to some very cool music. Not only the background score, but also the songs that have been chosen in the game are very nice to hear and go through. So as far as the miscellaneous factors go, I think Spider-Man does a great job, and a huge thumbs up from my side. Overall, summing everything up, I think Spider-Man Miles Morales is a great game with brilliant combat and graphics, decent characters, a world that feels somewhat alive, and a compelling story, but lacking somewhat in length and replayability, and making the main villain stand out. For me, what I think is that this game is certainly worth it. If somebody has not played it, this story is certainly worth it, and one should try it. So a solid 7.7 out of 10 from my side for Spider-Man Miles Morales. I had real fun playing this game, and for anyone who hasn't played it yet, I hope this video will help you to have some insight on whether you want to try it out or not. For the ones who have played it, please leave your opinions on the game as well as the comment sections. Anyone who wants to see the gameplays, please feel free to check out the videos that I have uploaded on my channel itself. And if you do like this, as always, sub to the channel and a like to the videos will be much appreciated, and it'll just help me keep making newer content for you guys. As always, it was outstanding to interact with you and sharing my love for the video games. If you enjoyed it or found the video to be useful, please give a like, and we will see each other on the videos to come with some other games and some other content. But for now, goodbye, and it has been Pegasus. It has been a great journey with Spider-Man Miles Morales. See you. Bye-bye.